Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about a hackathon. I just completed another hackathon today, and I want to talk about a lot of the successes and failures and things that I learned throughout the hackathon. The, I guess to talk about the event structure first of all, it was three-person teams. There's about 30 teams there. My team was made up of the senior and the junior from the previous hackathon, but because the team limit was three, we couldn't fit the sophomore into our team, unfortunately. We wish we could fit everyone in, but you just can't sometimes. But to talk about, I guess the problems that were covered, you're given 10 problems to solve in 2 hours and 30 minutes. The problems ranged from things like weighted shortest path through a 2D array. There was some dynamic programming, converting base 7 to base 10, fizzbuzz, a fancy version of fizzbuzz. But overall, I'd say the problems were all pretty straightforward. Um, and pretty easy, but and something I really enjoyed. But to talk about our failures first, the first failure I would say we had was with the converting base 10 to base 7. Originally, what we tried to do is we tried to actually write out the whole base 10 to base 7 approach by implementing the method that I'm about to talk about, raw. We just tried to use the mod 7 to the power of 4, whatever, all that to solve it, but that ended up taking up a lot of time and we didn't end up having a finished product. But what we realized was that there's already a method written for this, which was toString, and we were able to use toString with the parameter of type the radix, which is the base of the number. So you can convert an integer to a different base as a string. But this is quite useful because this solves the entire problem. What we do is integer.parseInt of of the number dot toString with the argument of or integer dot toString of the number and the base 7, which we wanted to do, and we just return that, and that solved the whole problem in one line, which was both success and failure. The failure would be that we didn't assess the whole range of approaches before diving in. We kind of looked at the problem, thought we knew the approach, and just went right in and did it. But if we took a step back and thought about all the ways to do it, we would have come up with this approach way sooner and solved it, which ties into the success, which was actually finding this approach and being able to have a solution that works immediately. We know it works and move on, right? Which is something I'm happy about. Another success I'd say we have was the way we solve these problems. We had three different members of slightly different skill levels. Some of them know a little bit less algorithms than I guess other people, but we had one person work on the easy problems, one person work on the medium, one person work on the hard. And the way it worked was the easy problems were a little bit shorter, so the person finished them first, so they immediately started entering those in. The medium finished shortly after, started entering those in, and the hard entered last, finally entering those in. And that is the first success, I'd say, because we were always entering in problems and always securing points. As we moved down the line, the people who were solving the harder problems had more time to solve these problems. They were better able to write out their pseudocode and copy it and whatnot. And this overall allowed us to score a ton of easy points really quick. And if we had infinite time, I think we would have solved all the problems. But I think at the end of the day, the way we attacked the problems was very well, very efficient, not something we really could have done better. But yeah, so then to talk about, I guess, another failure, I think it relates directly to that base 7, converting base 10 to base 7 failure, which was not assessing every single approach for the problem. Number 10 was a dynamic programming problem, and we tried to use a recursive approach instead of using memoization and an array to solve the problem, which if we used the array, we would have avoided the stack overflow error, which we actually ran into when we finally reached the test cases. And once we reached that, we just decided, hey, that's his last problem. Let's just do all the other ones, make sure those are good before we come back to this. And this, I guess, yeah, that kind of sums up the success and failures. I don't want to talk nearly as much as I did in the last video because I feel like a lot of the time you guys might have gotten lost and whatnot. But yeah, so to summarize the successes, we attacked the problems well. And talk about the failures, I think that we could have better assessed the solution to each problem before actually solving. Yeah, and so that's, I guess, for the actual event, that summarizes it pretty well. We finished 7 out of the 10 problems and ended up placing third overall, which is something we're quite happy about. But then, aside from the actual coding of the event, I want to talk about what happened after the event, and that was that we got to meet with recruiters at the company we were with. And the company we were with was, I guess I'll talk about it. It was a quantitative trading firm. And basically that means, for the people who don't know, they do a lot of money coding. Basically, they use algorithms and I guess, just code to make accurate stock predictions and make decisions with money. And it's very interesting because it's very puzzle and algorithm and logic based, and that's something that I really enjoy. This video is very centered around algorithms, very centered around data structures, and you're not really going to see me talking about projects or a lot of the things I'm building, because a lot of my focus and a lot of what I truly enjoy about computer science is the actual algorithms and data structures, coming up with them and solving these problems, because they're like puzzles and brain teasers, and that's kind of like how they describe quantitative trading with us. And I got to speak with the recruiter and a couple people who work there, and it sounds like a job that's very interesting for me and something that I'm considering pursuing in the future because of my interests. And I just thought I would update you guys on this because it might help you better understand where you are on your career path. I originally thought I wanted to just be software engineer, building stuff for Google or Microsoft, which doesn't really like have any sound purpose. It doesn't really sound like something I like. It doesn't have like an exact thing that you're doing. But what I ended up deciding, or what I not ended up deciding, what I decided after software developer, it was I want to get into AI. AI is the future of everything. Everyone's talking about AI, and so I thought that by getting into AI, beating the curve, it would be a good decision. But which I guess I'm still considering that pathway, of course. But the quantitative trading pathway with all the math and numbers and puzzle focus just seems really interesting to me, and I guess was a very fun part of the experience. But aside from that, I got to meet a lot of amazing people at this event, ate a lot of great food, and had a fun time. So, yeah, if you're interested in competing in hackathons, I'd recommend them to anyone of any level. If you're even at the beginner level, competing in a hackathon can be extremely beneficial, because if you're serious about increasing your computer science knowledge and skill, diving right into actually doing it is an amazing way, because you're going to learn all the skills, all the successes and failures that I've been talking about in my videos. You'll learn those in real time and learn, hey, these are like, how can I actually solve these, and how can I actually deal with these, and when do I encounter these? And by learning about all the problems and successes and failures beforehand, it can help you later in the future when you're very serious about competing and you really want to get into it. So I hope you all learned something from this video, my successes and my failures. Maybe you've had some of the same in your past. Feel free to share down below. But if not, have a great day, and goodbye.